This is my legacy. In this bonus drop, Reverend Michael Beckwith and Sterling K. Brown dive into how we stay lifted when the world feels heavy. They reveal how to turn fear into faith, pain into purpose, and separation into love. Let's jump in.
So, Rev, what stood out to you about Sterling's spirit and character when you first started getting to know him?
Uh, even though he's an actor, he's not acting. He's very honest. He's himself, and he was jovial. I remember we had some event at Agape, and he was just always ready to um, to serve in his capacity. He was just ready to be there fully and completely. Very, very approachable, and both of them, him and his wife, are very smart people. I like smart people. And they're very I don't mean like highfalutin, but just very, very intelligent folk. But I would say his sense of confidence, his sense of integrity. He just seemed to be himself, and I love that. Yeah.
Rev, you've spent at least 40 years building a global ministry and movement. So, how has your message changed and evolved?
Well, I think that it has evolved based on my own evolution and my own integration of my oneness with the presence of God. The basic message never changes, which we are all emanations of the Most High God, the living one, the divine presence. Each has chosen to be here on this planet to represent this presence according to our uniqueness, and that our uniqueness is our spiritual superpower because there's no one exactly like us. So the great God of the universe, wants to know itself as us. And so my attention from the beginning and still to this day, even though I have, larger visions, is to help build the individual. That's why I'm here. Like I've seen something that I can't unsee. When I had my first spiritual awakening, and then over the years, more and more deepening into that, which is very real, very authentic. Um, I can't unsee that, and I have such a desire within myself for people to see it. And I don't mean with physical eyes, but to see it with their awareness, who they are, what they represent, and how they are here to contribute to the planet. Everyone is here is to bring a contribution. And so I think that I've become more articulate in reminding people that there's an insidious prison that we live in, and that's in our own mind of separation from God, which leads to fear, doubt, worry. A belief in separation can lead to hate, bigotry, all manner of things. This sense of separation can be projected into the world, and then subsequent actions can be taken based on that sense of separation. So, but the basic message has stayed the same, and then my own growth in it becomes more and more integrated just based on my own spiritual practice. So I'm unshakable with what I've seen, and so I become unshakable in seeing the potential in people. I can see it, I can see the Christ presence in individuals, and so I have a way of just being around people. Sometimes not even doing anything. I'm not even speaking, but I can help pull it out just based on what I see. And so many people obviously are looking for flaws in people. They live in a protective consciousness. They're trying to protect themselves, so they don't really have the opportunity to see the truth about people. So I just see reality in people. I can see through their own ceilings. There is the Christ, the hope of glory, if that's what you want to call it, the presence of God within us, and every religion has their own name for it. And that's not just metaphor or prose or religious writings. That's the truth of our being. So every week I'm just guided to hit the basic message and then deal with whatever's going on in a person's life or in the world, on the world scene, the political scene. It will show me how to handle that without offending people, but definitely uplifting people, as you just said recently, Martin, lifting us to our higher nature, the angels of our higher nature, you see. So So I'm always I'm always on the edge of my own growth.
I remember having part of this conversation with you before because I asked a similar question. Would you say that possibly in the past you would have passed off these ideas or these downloads that you had from spirit and credit them to other people just in case you thought people thought that it was too strange, and now you're like, I own it all. Like I am who I am.
Absolutely. That is you're absolutely articulated part of my own growth. Man, the first 5 years, maybe even longer, as speaking at Agape, I would assign certain inspirations to a teacher, and I would say, as so and so said, but I wouldn't quite own it. I'd have to quote somebody or pretend that I was quoting somebody. But today I can stand fully me. I know what I've gone through. I know what I go through. I know the inner changes one has to go through to embody that kind of energy. And I know who I am, and it has nothing to do with ego. It has something to just knowing who you are. I know that the presence of God is love and loves us all, and that God's eyes are too pure to behold inequity. God only sees the potential in all of us, and I've had to learn to do that for myself. So in terms of evolution, I've had to learn to uh, develop such an inner self-worth that I can receive and that I could just be me, you know, and that was a growing edge for me. Why does everybody love me? It's like I just like, whoa, what's going on? I don't know. I couldn't take it in at first.
Right.
Now I just love God and love people. And I trust God and I love people, but I don't reverse it. Because they may not be living up to the angels of their higher nature, Martin, so I love them.
Sterling, your incredible edge of your seat, literally, TV series Paradise shows us.
That's a good
Yeah,
series.
there you go. It shows us what a world on the brink looks like and what humanity does in the aftermath of that. After bringing that story to life, what did you come away believing about how we can still find hope? We're still talking about this hope, even when the world feels chaotic.
You boy. Let's see. I feel like natural disasters or catastrophes or whatever have a way of bringing out, in a lot of ways, the best of humanity when you see the support and people wanting to be in community with one another to transcend obstacles, right? And then it can also bring out a very profound selfishness. And so you get a chance to see like a dichotomy that transpires even within the context of our show. And sort of bringing that back to what the Rev was talking about, like we have to be able to show people that life is not a zero-sum game, that things that may be of benefit for me or for one particular group don't necessarily mean that another group of people are going to be lose something, that the high tide can lift all boats, right? And I think that what I do as a storyteller through media or whatnot is one of the ways in which we are able to expose folks to another walk of life or another facet of humanity that they may not have had an opportunity to bear witness to personally. So through books, through our education, through the stories that we tell, through the things that we watch, through enlightenment, through spiritual enlightenment, we can gain an understanding of our connections to other people. And I think that's probably why there's been such an interesting war on the texts that people have and trying to keep certain texts, from being in schools or whatnot, because these texts are like, oh, wow, these things transpired. And there's probably a way in which I can see myself connected to someone. I've had so many people come up to me, whether it's in Paradise or This Is Us, etc., and they don't look anything like me. And they'll be like, I'm Randall. I am Xavier. I am, and I'm like, really? Because I thought he was a black dude. They're like, no, 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 no. You may be playing him, but like so many things, there's a universal part of humanity that people are able to see and connect with. And I feel like the more that we can just sort of foster that connection and sort of dismantle this veil of separation, because it's easy to dehumanize someone that you don't see as yourself. If you
Right.
see yourself in them, then you can't dismiss them anymore. And you can't sort of like make it into like you're a loser, I'm a winner, whatnot. Like you try to find a way for everybody to win. Like we can all win, man. It's so clear to me, right? but it's, I'm out of the veil. Rev will also talk about things to do in this time. Don't watch the news all day. The news is bad news. That's what sort of like people click into. Fear is a powerful, easy motivator that like gets clicks and likes and all these kinds of things. And then the algorithm just starts to swirl and you just get more and more. You go into a rabbit hole of negativity. Unplug from that, spend time in meditation, spend time focused on the presence, right? And so it can lift you out and transmute that energy. Don't be uninformed, but don't be deluged by it either.
Right.
Are in the middle ground, please.
Right. It conditions your mind.
Well, one thing that always brings us together is music. And we cannot end this episode with talking about music because, we know how important it is to Rev and Agape, to the movement, to us at home. So I have to ask each of you, what song, particularly right now, is your go-to song if you want to amp up, if you want to rise up, if you want to uplift yourself?
There's two, and there's one that we were shooting late night on Paradise. I could tell my crew and everybody was getting a little tired. It was about 2:00 in the morning and things were taking a little longer than what they were supposed to, but it was real quiet. And we were outside doing this carnival singing. And I started playing Phil Collins, I Can Feel It Coming in the Air of Night. And when the drum kicks in, the boom, 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 like everybody got hyped and we were able to finish the night. So that's always a good drum kick. It takes about 2 minutes to get to it, but it's great. Then Pharrell has a song right now with this choir called Joy Unspeakable that your boy gets real, real hype off of. If you don't know it, check it out. It's wonderful.
Yeah, I would say obviously it's a lot, but one is Happy Feelings by Frankie Beverly because he speaks about one, he says, I have myself to remind me about love. And he has these happy feelings that he wants to spread around the world. And the next verse, he talks about he's seen the light and he has to shine it around the world. I always feel very connected to that song. And I used to see him live when I went to the, New Orleans Jazz Festival. And so I have a certain resonance with it. And then I can't leave out Stevie, Stevie Wonder, he comes to Agape with good friends. And so I always like playing and I like playing I Am Singing. There's this certain notes that he has that, there's songs in the key of life.
Bumpy.
And, I just did a talk in Bali and they had me walk out on Happy by Pharrell.
Scrolling won't change your life, but subscribing just might. Tap that button and stay connected to conversations that count.
Something I've attempted to apply and had to, I guess, losing dad at 10 and my grandmother at 16, both by assassin's bullets. So had to, or chose, because it's a choice.
Yes.
Chose to love as opposed to hate, and chose to forgive. But Dad used to say also, so how do we find that hope? How do we engage at this extraordinarily difficult time for so many across our nation and world?
Putting the big question on me, are you?
Well, I know you can answer it.
So like your dad talked about a dream that he had, So when you look at the state of affairs, there are individuals that are lost in the sauce. There is no visionary leadership basically describing a kind and just global society, or a kind and just global nation, kind and just global state or city. Everyone is fighting at the level of the experience of separation. So the way that you have hope is you have to have a vision of what you're trying to build, and you have to be able to articulate that. You have to be able to feel it so that your language and your actions are in league with the vision. Other than that, you're just spinning in circles. And so we have a dearth of political leadership right now in which there is no vision of unity and great possibility of working together and great synergy. It's more divisive. So that we as citizens, we have to articulate that vision. And we have to make sure in our own circles that there is forgiveness, there's a sense of unity, there's a sense of what are we working for? Because one of the things that I've taught over the years is that your pain pushes you until your vision pulls you. And once you have a vision, you're pulled by a future, a destiny. As Sterling was saying earlier, what God sees in you, you're pulled by that. Most people, I don't want to get too scientific here, but in the Newtonian model, people always deal with the fact that their present is caused by their past. But in the quantum level, your future is there as well. It's right, and you have to be pulled by that. And so vision pulls you into your future that's already nestled within your own heart and soul. So when you hear your father talking about, I have a dream, there was a resonance, a frequency of possibility in the midst of racism and hate and bigotry. There's a resonance of what he could see and feel. And so this stone of hope is vision and the articulation of vision, and then asking ourselves, what is it that's mine to do? Everybody can't do everything. Everybody can do something. What is it that's mine to do in my particular walk of life that's going to bring hope, it's going to bring inspiration, it's going to bring upliftment, it's going to bring unity. And as we all begin to live at that level, which is difficult when people are caught being seduced, intimidated, and provoked by fear, doubt, worry, and separation. Once you get people in fear, you can control them. But once you bring people into inspiration of hope, they become uncontrollable. Creativity begins to happen. Yeah.
Creativity happens. Love that.
Thank you for joining us. New episodes drop every Tuesday, with bonus content every Thursday. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss a moment.